Hello, investors. It's Don Vandenbord, Chief Investment Officer with Revere Asset Management. Today is Monday, October 20th, 5:34 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you from St. Augustine Beach, Florida, the financial capital of the South, with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Financial capital of the South was Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this past weekend, though, as I attended, along with Connor and Todd, the Elevate Investment Conference led by Matt Caruso, John Pocaroba, two very well respected growth traders. We will never stop, never cease in our commitment to improve our process to benefit our clients. Lots of great learning material shared, stuff that will absolutely help our process and benefit our clients. Great time, great people, great atmosphere, great location, Pier 66. I just can't say enough good things about it. Great presentations. Really glad we all ended up going. So let's get to the market. Market state back to uptrend after we gapped today, put in the low within the first 5 minutes, trended higher most of the day. Bit of a surprise, maybe, but it's looking more like the Thursday overnight lows where we undercut and reclaim the 50-day moving average is looking like a shakeout as maybe we're in the no bad news is good news situation with the government shutdown, no bad China tariff tweets, looking like the fears of a possible debt issues with regional banks was overblown. But whatever the reason was, we go by the numbers, and the numbers were very green today. Check the trend gauge over here. Still have market leaders on neutral. Seven dropped off from last week. There's a lot of rotation going on, but that's good because leaders are falling off. I have no problem replacing them with other leaders to put on the list, both for the 21-21 and Ted and Connor curating the Turbo-12 list. So we've got the yellow arrow there, continued strength. You see we have the green sub arrow on leaders. That arrow will go back to green, and then we can once again say coveted four green arrows. Short term, green arrow RSP, that's the equal weight S&P and the mid cap index. One close back above their 21-day moving average. So still a yellow sub arrow there. Because of those two, we want to see those have multiple closes above that level and get rid of any yellow that we have on the trend gauge. So what happened today? I kind of already mentioned it. Gap up in the morning, an Apple upgrade as reports of excellent sales on their latest iPhone in China and multiple upgrades on the stock. Led tech and the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 cleared last week's highs. You recall on Friday, Ted's video said he drew a triangle, said we've got reaching a decision point. Will we break down or break up? We broke bullishly higher. Here are the numbers of 21 over 21, up an average of 2.22%, 16 up, 5 down. The Turbo 12 up an average of 3.41, 10 up, 2 down. The Big 8 up an average of 1.8. Same with the RG8. S&P 500 opened up a 0.5%, ended up by the close up 1.07%. Equal weight S&P 500 up 1%, so some positive breadth there. NASDAQ 100 up 1.25%. Equal weight up a little bit higher than that. So it wasn't just the Big 8 that led that. There was strength across the board in the NASDAQ 100. Dow up a little more than 1.1%. Mid cap, same thing. Russell bouncing back up almost 2%. Global 60/40 up 0.64%. Our flagship GROTECTION portfolio up 0.64%. And TURBO-TECTION up 1.2%. Reminder, please like click like on if you're watching on YouTube or on any of the other social media. It certainly helps our ratings, gets the algorithm gets our content into the streams of people that are looking for help with their portfolios. We would appreciate that very much. Let's get to it here. We'll start with the S&P 500, and you can see it's pretty clear there. Let's draw some lines. You got your downtrend line there, you got your uptrend line there, and a clear downtrend line break on the S&P 500 is bullish. So now we're above the 8, we're above the 21, put some distance between the 50-day moving average. Overnight Thursday, we were down in this area, bounced from there. By the time we opened Friday morning, held that, had a strong close, and more follow through to the upside today. Good stuff there. Here's the NASDAQ 100. Similar breaking of the downtrend line there. And it's plain and simple. We're not going to argue with the market as long as we maintain this breakout. We'll continue to look for low risk entries in leading stocks. Let's go to the equal weight S&P 500. Not as strong, but a downtrend line break as well, and a move back above the 8 and the 21-day moving averages. How about the equal weight NASDAQ 100 there? Same thing, break of the downtrend line. In that triangle, Dow Jones Industrial Average, break of that downtrend line as well. So, I mean, these breakouts stick great. If they fail, we've got a plan either way. That's what's unique about us here at Revere. We follow the trend of the market, not anybody's opinions, least of all our own opinions. Mid cap clearing the 8, 21, and 50-day moving averages here. The weakest of the indexes, it continues to be. And finally, the Russell 2000 had a big spike, all-time high last week on Wednesday, harsh 2-day pullback, but regaining. It closed right on the 21-day moving average with a decent close on Friday, headed more to the upside, clearing the 8 EMA today. So good stuff across the board on the indexes. Let's talk about some inter-asset correlation right now. We'll start with the VIX. One of the keys coming into today, we want to see the VIX back below 20. We got that. VIX down 12.3% on the day. How about the US dollar? Second straight strong day, bouncing off the 50-day moving average, but a strong dollar did not stop the precious metals. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat or something. GLD, gold, another all-time high. GDX bouncing back nicely off the 21-day moving average from last week. And silver, nice recovery as well, reclaiming the 8-day moving average. Bitcoin short charts chart continues to be weak, but it bounced near the 200-day moving average and was up 4.1% today. Ethereum also bouncing as well into the declining 8-day moving average. Didn't come near the 200-day moving average, so a little bit of relative strength there. Let's go to bonds. Broad bond index BND, tight range today, near recent highs. TLT, the long bond, making new highs. And you know, if the price is making new highs, that means the yield's going lower. And you can see lower yield today, breaking the lows from a couple of weeks ago. That's not bearish for stocks. TNX near the lows as well. That's our inter-asset correlation. Let's go to the tail of the tape. We got some good news to update here. The stochastics on the indexes, the 6 broad indexes that we track, all turned higher. RG8, 4 higher, 3 neutral, 1 down. NASI RSI trying to turn back to the upside. Dollars consolidating. Yields heading down. Percent of stocks against the 5-day a little elevated. Don't want to see this get above the 80 level. So that's probably about the only fly in the ointment. But with the NASI trying to turn up, that kind of offsets that. But never want to pile in when you've got a bunch of names above the 5-day moving average, especially if that gets above 80. News. Let's say indexes gap up and gain as no bad news is good news. We'll go with that. Fear and greed at a 30. So off of the extreme fear level. The keys coming into today, the indexes against their 8, 21, and 50, all above that level. VIX against 20 broke below that level, as I mentioned. Second day up after the Thursday overnight shakeout, reclaiming first clear close back above the 8-day moving average, second above the 21-day moving average. S&P 500 ATR above 1. We're mild concern. It can certainly go a bit higher than that, but it's gone from zero point 0.8 to over 1 over the last week and a half. And we were all very well aware of that volatility starting with the move down 2 Fridays ago as the market threw a little bit of a tantrum. Sectors, 9 of the 11 spider sectors higher: semiconductors, banks, cloud, biotech, gold and silver stocks all up. To the downside, uranium and two defensive sectors, staples and utilities. Portfolio changes. GROTECTION stopped on CoreWeave and Seagate, bought Frito, added to our Snow and SSO positions, 1.07 volatility adjusted beta, 3.99% balance at risk. TURBO-TECTION sold CoreWeave as well, bought GGLL, that's a two times Google, AMD, and Alibaba. Volatility adjusted beta 1.36, 5.47% balance at risk. So the bottom line on the day, S&P and NASDAQ 100 clear last week's highs as Apple led a big tech rally. Let's take a look at Apple very quickly. That's not a bearish chart. Look at this, 202 days, so 40 weeks, clearing that flat base above average volume, institutions buying it, 73% above average volume, up 4%. Huge leader, um, helps buoy the indexes, plain and simple. NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500 in particular, as you are well aware, as we repeat it constantly about the big weights of these big tech names. We'll look at Google since GGLS was bought as well. And you can see that nice tight consolidation over the last 4 weeks, and some relative strength over the past week. Big AI player is Google there. Let's see, where are we? We're about that time when we want to talk about the Turbo 12 and the 21 over 21 list. So let's get right into it. We'll have these, let's see, we'll sort them by today's gains. And actually, we'll sort them by number, and then the two new ads will be at the bottom. METC, rare earth metals, up 4%. IREN, Bitcoin miner turned AI data center player, uh, down a bit on the day, just pulling back from a recent high from last week. Bloom Energy with a pullback, great relative strength there, though. Pan American Silver bounced at the 21-day moving average last week and held it today. Carmen clearing the 8 EMA after bouncing off the 21 EMA last week. Southern Copper consolidating for about 2 weeks now. Tempest AI regaining the 21-day moving average after closing just below it to close last week. Symbotic pulling back tight inside day today. SanDisk continues to be just a stud, running into a little resistance around this 150 level after a big move, a triple off of 50. Good stuff there. Rocket Lab consolidating with some volatility over the last 2 weeks. Here's the two new names: AAOI clearing recent highs, and ARC-G. This is a biotech slash genomic ETF run by Kathy Wood's ARC organization, making new highs as biotech has been acting very well. Note the relative strength on that ETF. Let's go to the 21-21 list. We'll start off with the first 7 that we own. The next 7 will be carryovers from last week, and the final 7 will be new for this week. So we'll start off with Hood. We trimmed a little bit of this on strength a week and a half ago, and then on some weakness on a close below the 21 last week, regaining the 21 today. We'll look for a low risk add back as this broke the downtrend line if it continues to show relative strength. Tesla breaking above this little shelf over the last week and a half. Snowflake, we added to this today with the bounce off the 21-day moving average last week. NVIDIA not showing any relative strength, in fact, lagging semiconductors like Intel and AMD, but still holding on to the 50 and 21-day moving averages. MP pullback. We trimmed some last week on weakness, also trimmed some on strength, but bounced at the 21-day moving average, and that's a good stop area if you're looking for an entry. Bloom Energy, strong in the morning, but pulled back to red by the end of the day. And Credo, we added this today, regaining the 50-day moving average in the 21 last week, clearing the 150 level today. Gap up, held the gap, closed above the 150 level. Had some ants here back in September, then a pullback, and now challenging. And if we clear those highs from 2 weeks ago, we'll look to add some more to it. Here are the carryovers from last week. GDX continues to be fantastic for solar. Third day of a pullback, but still above the 21-day moving average. Micron, new high, bottom of the range close, however. That got some upgrades today. LEU at that 400 level, closed below the 8 EMA last week, but reclaimed it today. Palantir, hanging tight above the 50 and 21-day moving averages. Mongo qualifies as a flat base now after that big earnings move higher 6 weeks ago. CrowdStrike, this is the last of the names from last week, undercut the 21, reclaimed it today, closed above that 500 Livermore level. Here are the 7 new names. EQT, oil stock, has earnings tomorrow after the close, definitely showing relative strength as far as the oil names are concerned. Nice tight setup there. SoFi, adding this back, it was on the list a couple of weeks ago, holding the 50-day moving average and regaining the 21 today. Alibaba spent some time below the 21, but reclaimed it today. Added that to the list. AMD, probably the strongest semiconductor right now, putting that on the list. LITE, nice flat base over the last 5-6 weeks. Cleveland Cliffs, this is on. They announced earnings. Numbers weren't great, but it was up on 3 times average volume, up 21.5%, as they said they are exploring a move into mining rare earth metals, and we all know the kind of publicity that has been getting as of late. So some possible money flows into that. See if it continues. And finally, excuse me, WGMI, kind of funny, stands for "We Gonna Make It." That's one of the sayings of the Bitcoin bros. And this is a ETF with a bunch of miners that were former Bitcoin miners that are all pivoting to the AI data center. You can see the smooth, nice uptrend that made going back to September. A little bit of a pullback here. See if maybe we can get a 3 weeks tight or a consolidation. And take advantage of some money coming into that. And that is your 21 over 21 list. And I don't think there were any more standouts that I really want to point to. So we will wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. The email's don@revereasset.com. The phone's 855 Real Wealth. That's 855-732-5932. If you're interested in becoming a client, contact us on our website or shoot us an email. Our flagship portfolio, GROTECTION, and its more aggressive cousin portfolio, TURBO-TECTION, both designed to grow assets during uptrends, protect them during downtrends. And we detail what we're doing every night on these videos, complete transparency. Most and as far as what we're looking at now and the keys going forward, we want to maintain these downtrend line breakouts. It's that simple. We'll look to add exposure if that sticks. If it doesn't, the market will take us out of our existing names. And that's trend following and not arguing with the market. That's what we do here at Revere. And with that, I will wrap it for Monday, October 20th. This is Don Vandenbord with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. It's not how much you make in the market, it's how much you can keep. Thanks for listening and have a great day.